Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. I am so excited about this particular webinar. I've been waiting for this particular one for a couple of reasons. One is that some of my favorite people are here today, and their name starts with an S. And also is talking about one of my favorite subjects here today, and that is membership. As you know, we do a membership webinar once a month. So please go to our Zone website and you'll get a chance to see all the webinars that we're going to put on for the next year, for this upcoming year. And also, you also will get a chance to see the recording. Now, one of the things I want you to do today is look through the eyes of the Rotary Action Plan when you look at this particular webinar. It's almost like the action plan birthed this particular type of webinar. But one of the things I also want you to be aware of, it's very difficult for both Alec and I to be on the same webinar because we both love to talk, but I'm going to be quiet this time. So with this, I'm going to pass it over to Alex. And Alex, tell us what we're going to expect today and why I'm so excited about this particular webinar.
Well, thank you very much, Lloyd, and welcome everybody. This is our first monthly webinar in webinar format, so this is different for all of us. I'm going to talk slow because one of our panelists isn't here yet, and he's one of our first people to speak, so I'm hoping he could come on. Maybe my good friend Tom could call him and get him online for us. But today's subject is Service Companion Club, is what our zone's calling it, or honestly, Rotary calls it a service-focused satellite club. And what we're doing as a Rotary coordinator team, we have encouraged every district to implement this, because this is a great way for a club to grow. And so one of the things I want to do when I talk about, to kind of open this subject up, is to kind of give a little background. Back in 2016, that's when Rotary's Council of Legislation did some major changes. They actually provided a lot of club flexibility options, and only through those changes are allowing us to talk about this subject, because no attendance wasn't required, different club types, just a lot of different changes in way a Rotary club, a Rotary satellite club can function was put out. So that allowed a lot of creativity and options in our new clubs in order for us to grow, because that's the whole goal, is to grow Rotary. And so what I want to do to kind of talk about it is first to say we have our amazing panelists. What I want to do is kind of introduce I'm not going to introduce, I will call their name, let them introduce just briefly. And then later on, we're going to kind of let them tell their story and why they're connected, why they're on this call. So I will start off with Stephanie Meyer. You can tell everybody who you are.
Sure, the Stephanie and Stephanie is not going to get confusing at all later tonight. Maybe I'll go by Steph as just a quick, because that's what I go by. So I'm Stephanie Meyer, ARC, but ICA, Innovative Club Advocate here in this region. I'm from District 5710, so shout out to my Northeast Kansas folks who I see on the call this evening, including our membership chair. So excited about that, and I'll share more about why I'm passionate about this topic later. So I'll turn it over to the other Stephanie.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie. My name is Stephanie Yurchik, and I am Rotary International President-elect. It's going to be my pleasure to work with all of you during Rotary Year 2024-2025. I'm from Rotary District 7305, which is in the United States in southwestern Pennsylvania. And along with me in the room here is my presidential aide, which I think probably all of you on the call know, because I think everybody knows Tom Gump, and Tom is a past district governor from Medina, Minnesota. Tom, you want to say hello?
Hello.
He needs no introduction.
Excellent. Well, our other panelist is, we will try to introduce him when he hops on. So to kind of go through the formal introduction.
Alex is trying to get on, but it won't let him in. I called him, he said he's trying to get on, but it won't let him in.
Could you maybe text him? Oh, Lloyd, can you text
Yeah.
him the panelist link?
Yeah, let's,
So
yeah, let me try.
kind of go through the introductions. Everybody has talked about where they're from. I'm from District 5810, Rotary Club of Plano West. That's a suburb of Dallas, and I am the Rotary coordinator. What I want to do is kind of talk about my introduction to Service Companion Clubs. And what was really fun, everybody probably read that article that was written in the Rotary Voices online blog, which talked about Service Companion Club. Back in 2020, when I was president of Plano West Rotary Club, we wanted to get involved in service. And so I had this plan of, we'll start a Rotary Community Corps, and then it'll turn into a satellite club. So when I reached out to the local community development organization that we partnered with, that's how I positioned it. We were focusing on a underserved community, mainly Black and Hispanics, and we wanted to do a lot of service. So we partnered with a nonprofit, and I said, hey, this will give us an opportunity of getting the might of Rotary working in this community. And then we'll get started with this Rotary Community Corps, and then when we grow, we could turn it into a satellite club. That way you can have your own meetings in the Douglas community and kind of be autonomous, and maybe even go further than that. So that was the plan. So then we started just doing service and gaining a lot of members. We're to the point of 4 new members a month. Well, they kept on wanting to join our Rotary Club, which you're thinking, that's bad. Well, if you know anything about Rotary Community Corps, when you're in RCC, you can't be in Rotary. And so they kept on leaving the RCC to join our Rotary Club, to the point where even the president of, or the chair of the nonprofit and the vice president, they both joined. So it was really complicated. So then when we started getting more and more people, I'm like, tell you what, remember we talked about this satellite club? Let's go ahead and get it started. And they're like, we don't want to do that. We're happy being part of Plano West Rotary. And so we never actually started our satellite club, but it all started with that plan. And that's the beauty of our club flexibility options. We had this plan, we didn't have to implement it, but what was key is because of service, we were able to triple our Rotary Club, and we still focused on that Rotary Community Corps. And so that was kind of my introduction to it. Well, now that I see it doesn't have to be a migration, we're just saying, go straight to a Service Companion Club. You don't need to do a Rotary Community Corps unless you want to, because there's a lot of value in Rotary Community Corps. But you could just form a service-focused satellite club and still serve your community and do a lot of great things. So as each individual panelist is going to talk, we're going to hear there's a lot of different names for it. Our zone pair, we're calling it Service Companion Club. When Steve, which his name says Stephanie Meyer, talks, the other Stephanie, he's going to talk about what his district has called it for a number of years. And then when President-elect Stephanie Urchek, she's probably going to refer to the term that her zone calls it. Regardless of what we call it, they're all service-focused satellite clubs, and we're growing Rotary. So with that, I want to, this kind of works out well. Steve, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and then go ahead and share 5 minutes about your experience with service-focused satellite clubs.
Okay, thanks. It looks like the name isn't right, but that's okay. Stephanie is a good name too. So.
I'll change it for you.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. I don't care. I'm easy. Hey, quite a few years ago, I realized there's a lot of good Rotarians in Boone that just couldn't meet at noon. They would have made good Rotarians. And so I went on a venture and got another Rotarian to help me. And we asked a lot of people and had a couple of meetings. Pretty soon we had 14 ready to sign on what we call Club Extension. Yeah, after hours. You can look at it any way you want. And it developed very quickly into a a thing for teachers, literacy, one of the 7 avenues of focus. Not, it's just a great direction to take this. It's so easy. A good example of how that was working was, I don't know if you've heard of Trunk or Treat, but where in downtown Boone, vehicles would back up to the sidewalk. A lot of them would give out gifts, trinkets. Well, Rotary Club of Boone Extension handed out books. We handed out one night 800 books from preschool through 8th grade. Yeah, talk about smiles on faces and talk about warming your own heart. Well, I wanted to continue on with that, and I became district governor. Well, of course, I hit the COVID year. I didn't get to go out. And so in that spring of 2021, David Cook, our current district governor-elect, he joined on with me, and we went out and visited 38 clubs. And District 6000 has 67 clubs in it. 20% have what zones call it companion clubs. It's easy. There's nothing difficult about it. And those clubs are the fastest growing in the district. One of the things that Dave and I also found was 5:30 was a sweet time. You can get off work, you can come have a drink, chat with your friends and fellow Rotarians, talk about a project or do a project, and then you can move on to other activities of the evening. And I'll give you a good example. West Liberty, a 100-year-old club, was meeting at 6 o'clock. They switched to 5:30 and membership went up. So it became pretty obvious to us that 5:30 worked well. You have to sell the idea, and it's not difficult. 1 club, 2 meeting times. It's easy to sell. 1 club, 2 meeting times. And that's my viewpoint of companion clubs, or whatever you want to call it. That's my viewpoint.
Steve, I kind of consider you the expert of service companion clubs in our zone pair. Because when did your district start its very first one? Do you remember?
Well, we had a satellite club back in 2013, which is now chartered. We had no others until I got going and got the first one going in 2018. And then I got another one in 2019, and since then it's been growing. So,
can you tell the attendees how many of these your district has started?
14 successful. One tried to go at 4 o'clock in the afternoon for some unknown reason, but all those that went at 4:30 have all been successful and are growing. And I think one of the keys to it is to have a couple of Rotarians that first year being there. These are all new people to Rotary. And so you do a lot of Rotary 101 and direction and talk about the 7 avenues of focus and the 4-way test. And so people with the right heart, it's easy.
That's awesome. Just so everybody knows, Lloyd, Stephanie Meyer, and Steve Dakin, they are all on the Rotary coordinator team. And Steve is one of our innovative club advocates whose sole role is to start new clubs. Stephanie Meyer is our assistant Rotary coordinator for new clubs and also an ICA as well. Their focus is starting new clubs. Every district has an innovative club advocate that's working with them. Your district leadership knows who they are. So when you have questions on starting a service companion club, go to your innovative club advocate. And our group works as a team. Like I said, I consider Steve to be our zone pair expert because his district's been doing it for so many years and they've started so many of them. And a lot of Steve's insights are in that fact sheet. Actually, I will give credit to Stephanie Meyer for putting that together. And because Steve's had so many years of going through the goods and the bad of putting together these satellite clubs, he offers a lot of practical knowledge and experience. So definitely look at the document and then also make sure to have your district leadership work with the innovative club advocates. But honestly, it's just a satellite club. It's as simple as that, that's focused on service. Next, I want to turn this over to the amazing ARC ICA Stephanie Meyer. Tell us your views and experience with the service companion clubs.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm excited about this. A little bit of background about me. So I've been in Rotary, past district governor, immediate past district governor. So I'm enjoying all my free time currently. But I've been in Rotary for about 13 years. So when I joined, I was 29 when I came into Rotary, and I joined a club that meets at 7 a.m. on Friday mornings, which was tough because our local brewery had a happy hour on Thursday evening every week. So made it more of a challenge, but joined it at 29 in this morning club. And the average age of my club was 67 at the time. So it was great. Obviously, I'm still a Rotarian, still in that club. But as I started to talk to my other friends about why they should join Rotary, and many of them are very civic and service oriented and wanted to get involved and do service, but just couldn't make, couldn't make that time work, couldn't make a regular meeting schedule work. They had a lot of young moms, a lot of people who don't have as much flexibility in their work schedule to have a regular meeting work. And frankly, I think a lot of people my age and younger don't really want to add just another meeting to their calendar, right? So I don't know that anybody really joins. I think Alex says this a lot. I don't know if anybody really joins Rotary to attend meetings. I think they join it to do service. So that is part of what I've loved about the service companion concept, because it does give people like myself, people who are kind of in my age range with young kids and busy careers and all that good stuff, an outlet to join Rotary and be able to do service and be a Rotarian and all of those great things. But it also helps some of our folks of every age who can't make that regular meeting structure work. Or we have a lot of folks in our club, for whatever reasons, came out of COVID, retired, or what have you, their life circumstances have changed. And so being a part of a satellite club has been a really good marriage for them. So my club actually started one. It's kind of it's an evening club as well. It meets at 5:30. Twice a month, and it is focused exactly kind of on that service piece of it. And it's been really cool because we have a lot of, we'll say, seasoned Rotarians from my morning club who come in and meet with them and do great service projects with them. They coordinate a couple service projects a month that our club members in the traditional club can join in, and vice versa. So it has not taken away from our membership. It has definitely grown on the satellite side and really made both clubs, I think, better for it. It's made our club stronger for having a satellite, I would say, and just a lot more vibrant. So it's been wonderful, and I'm super excited to be able to spread the good word of service companion clubs here region wide. So definitely here's a resource.
Awesome. Stephanie. I know, well, Stephanie Meyer, Steph. She's like, oh, the other Stephanie's like, okay. So Stephanie Meyer, what is one of the, you kind of talked through it, but whenever I think of you in this subject, where do you think these service companion clubs can make the biggest impact?
The place that I see it where service companion clubs can be the best is, if you have a pretty traditional club. I think mine is a good example of it. So it's a morning club, it's meeting pretty regularly, but other people want to join really anywhere that you have the ability to grow Rotary. So Plano, really wherever it can be a workable solution. So I don't want to totally limit it, but in areas where we have a club, the club is well established, maybe it's been around for long enough that they're looking for some new avenues of service. If your club is constantly feeling like we need some fresh blood, we need some excitement, that might be a good way to liven it up and just get a new group of people engaged as well.
I love it. Thank you. One of the nice, like I said, this is just a satellite club, but based on what's been successful in other zones and districts, what we're encouraging clubs to do when they start a service companion club is do away with the meetings. Let their service projects and service project planning be their meetings, so their engagement is through service and social. Another thing is don't require the meals. Once you eliminate the meals, Rotary is really cheap. It takes no more than about $150 a year to be a Rotarian, typical district dues and RI. Everything above that is built in by the club for whatever different expenses they have. So we encourage service companion clubs. They have $200 a year dues. That allows them to pay Rotary dues, district dues, have $50 extra to run the club, to do a Zoom account, what have you. And then they just focus in on service. There are Rotary clubs. My Rotary club, 50-something years old, our dues are $200 a year. So it's possible. And we're a traditional Rotary club with weekly meals and everything. So you don't have to have high dues to be in Rotary. By the way, my first Rotary club was, what was it? $1,600 a year. And so quite a change. So our not last but not least, but I now want to introduce Rotary International President-elect Stephanie Urchek, who has her own personal experience with service-focused satellite clubs. So Stephanie, take it away.
Well, thanks so much, Alex. But first, before I do that, let me say thank you to Lloyd Campbell. To have a monthly webinar on membership is absolutely outstanding, because membership is what's going to move us as an organization into a thriving future. So congratulations. And Alex, thank you for inviting me to be a part of this special meeting tonight. And you're absolutely right. I do have some experience. My own club in District 7305 became the first club in our district to embrace this concept of a different model. And, you know, it happened the same way that it happened for your clubs. We simply did an assessment of our club, and we asked important questions. You know, do you like what time we meet? Do you like the time of the day? We talked to people in the community. And what we were finding out was that we were missing a whole group of people who had the heart and the hands for service, but just couldn't come to a Rotary Club meeting at 7 o'clock in the morning. So we embraced a model that's widely known in zones 33 and 34 as the impact model. It's a little bit different because, unlike a companion club, eventually it breaks off from the sponsoring club, where companion clubs, I understand, stay tethered to that first club. So our impact club model was exactly what you talked about. It attracted people who wanted to roll up their hands, their sleeves, and use their hands to serve, but they didn't want to come to meetings. So instead, twice a month, they go out into the community and they serve. They go to our local food bank, they go to our library, they go to the local camp for disabled children. They do service, and they choose which service projects they want to do. Now, as the sponsoring Rotary Club, we do invite them to our meetings. We're a legacy club, love legacy clubs. They're not going away. It's what brought us to where we are in Rotary. But they don't come because they don't want to go to meetings. Now, we invite them to our socials. They will come there because we generally have beer. And then once every 6 or 8 weeks, we recognize that because they're not going to Rotary meetings, they're not hearing about what's important in Rotary, what, you know, how Rotary is developed, how it's designed. So we have a special evening. We call it Pizza, Beer, and Rotary. And that's what we do. We invite the club members. They come, we have just 1 or 2 Rotarians who go, and we talk about, in a very informal and casual way, we talk about Rotary. And the reason we did this was because early on, one of the impact members said to me, we were at a foundation evening, and I happened to have my medallion on, and the young man came up and looked at my medallion, and he said, "Who's the bald guy, and why are you wearing him?" Which made me realize they didn't even know who our founder, Paul Harris, was. And we really need to do a little bit of work. So the important part of this story is that these people pay full Rotary dues. Our club dues are a little higher. We pay $1 a day to belong to the greatest organization in the world. But like you, we don't have meals built in. People buy their own meals if they even want one. But it's $1 a day. And so these impact members pay that. So that's Rotary dues and district dues, and then they have their own club money that they can choose to use for Polio Plus or Peace Centers or whatever they want to do. Full dues. But on the nights that we have inducted them, we've gone from a club of 34 members to a club of 58 members. Now think about how long it takes to attract those kinds of numbers to our existing clubs. But as you said, one of the reasons that these clubs are so attractive, these models are so attractive, is because they get to create the culture or the expectations right up front. Where those of us in legacy clubs, we're there because we like the traditions of our clubs. You know, I'm never going to leave my club. I love what we do. We stand up when the bell rings, and we pledge and we sing and we do all those things, but we like it. Whereas other people in Rotary may look at things a little differently. So when they create a new club, a new model, they can create the culture that they want. But all of our research in Rotary shows that we're going to grow when we form new clubs. And why is that so important? Well, you know what, folks? It's pretty simple. We are a membership organization that does service. And the more hands we have, the more service we can do. And the less hands we have, the less service we can do. It's not rocket science. That's why membership growth has to be on our radar screen, to be the absolute #1 priority to move us forward. You know, I look at myself, I look at Stephanie there on the screen, and I love to see these faces in Rotary. I don't have 30 years in front of me to do Rotary, but Stephanie does. And so that's what we want. We want to make sure that people come behind us, so that when we're no longer here, the magic of Rotary continues. So thank you so much for letting me talk for a few minutes about our impact group. And I hope that you all listening and on this Zoom webinar will think about it for your own club, and think about whether a service companion group or an impact group, or whatever you call it, would be appropriate for your community. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you very much, President-elect Stephanie Urchak. Our goal as a Rotary coordinator team, I would love to have every single club in our zone pair start a service companion club. So that way they can grow internally. Because in all district leadership knows, I tell them there's 4 things they can do, and I guarantee they're going to have a net gain. Use our roadmap for their membership plan for the district. Have a committee for district membership, start a service companion club inside their district, multiple ones, and implement the Rotary Olympics. If a district does those 4 simple things, I guarantee they're going to have a net gain in membership. This next part of our webinar, what we're going to do is we have some planned questions for our panelists. And I'm going to change up what I told them. No, I'm joking. So I saw a little blood pressure there. What? No, I'm going to stick to the script. So this next question is for Stephanie Myers. What are the top 3 benefits of establishing a service companion club within a traditional Rotary club?
Sure. Yeah. So I think that all of us have talked about really quite a few of them. For me, it's a couple of things. So chiefly, it's really mission based. So it gets back to why Rotary exists and why we're all Rotarians. It's service focused. It's what folks want to do, and it's directly geared towards the good stuff, the red meat of Rotary service. 2, it's flexible. So it's accommodating to folks of any schedule, any sort of life priorities and needs in that sort of a way. And then lastly, and importantly, it's fantastic for retention and recruitment because of those first 2 things. So it is flexible enough that you can get what you need out of it, attend and do service, still be a Rotarian, still have all of that knowledge and commitment to the cause, just in a different, non-traditional, you know, more tailored to what you want kind of a situation.
You're muted, Alan. I didn't do that. Trust me.
We did.
I gave a whole
We
speech
decided
there.
to mute you.
You guys missed my whole speech. Now I got to repeat it. No, I'm joking. There was no speech. Well, thank you very much, Stephanie. Those are the 3 top benefits of why everybody here should start a service companion club inside their existing club. Once again, we encourage these service companion clubs not to separate. I see this as a Rotary Club growth opportunity. The second question is actually, again, for Stephanie Myers. How do these service companion clubs attract younger members or those who are new to Rotary?
Yeah, so again, I mean, you're following right along with this conversation. As I talk to my friends, and I appreciate feeling youngish to think I have 30 years of life ahead of me. Stephanie, thank you. But as I talk to, folks my age and also younger, this is exactly what they're looking for. They're not looking for another obligation in their schedule that's a meeting and, not knowing all the great things that Rotary brings outside of that. They're really looking to do some good in their community and make some connections and meet new people along the way. And these service companion clubs fit so nicely into that group, and they fit into a schedule that's a little bit tighter because of kids or work or what have you, and really for all ages, but particularly the younger folks who want to get involved in the community. This is a quick and easy way to do it without too much time or financial commitment on their end.
Awesome. This time I hit my mute button properly. So no speech given that time. Okay, Stephanie Urchek, you're next.
All right.
The question is, can you share a specific success story where Service Companion Club had a transformative impact on a community?
Well, the whole idea behind these groups that go out is that they want to serve quickly. They want to go out and make an impact right away. And so the stories that we hear as they share with us about, their service, the very first place they went was to our local food bank, the Greater Washington County Food Bank. And so they were all excited because at the end of their shift, they had about 2 hours at the food bank. They had packed more than 200 emergency food boxes. Emergency food boxes are for people who show up on the doorstep of the food bank who suddenly have lost a job or have lost income or lost hours, and they simply cannot feed themselves and their families. So an emergency food box has enough supplies in it to help that family exist for about a week. It's unlike, the regular food distribution. It's an emergency situation. And they were so proud that they had created 200 of these boxes to help families in our county, in Washington County in Southwest Pennsylvania. So it's that kind of pride that suggests to us that they really are having an impact. They are doing things that change the world, even if it's one activity at a time. They're helping one family at a time, but they are creating change for that family.
You know what I loved about that story is how it makes people feel. I always tell everybody, when you have a Rotary Club that's doing service in your own community, in your backyard, people don't need to go on mission trips with their church. It's like going on a mission trip, but it's cheaper and it's easier to go to, because people go on mission trips because they want to be there, have their hands dirty by helping those in need. I don't know of any community in America that doesn't have those in need, and Rotary, we're the organization to meet them. And so this just gives a fantastic opportunity to get everybody in your community involved, even if they're not in your Rotary Club, because people want to serve.
Yeah, I call that psychic income. When we work on behalf of others or, for a cause, we don't become richer, we don't get more money, we don't have more time. What we get is psychic income. It always makes us feel good. Being a Rotarian has made me feel fantastic for 32 years.
I like that, psychic income. I'm going to use it and give you credit, because this is how we're going to pay all our volunteers, with psychic income.
Right.
Because we always say, oh, everybody's a volunteer, they're not getting paid. Well, they're getting paid with psychic income.
You bet. You bet.
There we go. So we need them to earn their pay. Okay, our next question is with Stephanie Urchek again. How do Service Companion Clubs enhance Rotary's mission of service above self?
Well, clearly, it's in the name. It's people who are united in a cause to go out and do something good for the community, for people in the community, to create that lasting change. When you think about our vision statement, it says, together we see a world where people unite. That's what's happening in a Service Companion Club. They're uniting, and they go out to create lasting change. Sometimes that's around the globe. A lot of times it's in our own communities, but always it's in ourselves. That's the best part of that that whole vision statement, the last 3 words, because it's the first time that Rotary has recognized that when we do go and help others or work on a cause, we're not only changing their lives, we're changing ours. I think there's probably nobody on this call who can't say the same thing I say, and that is, I'm a much better person because I've been engaged in Rotary. So I think that's where the impact happens in 2 places. It happens with the beneficiary whose life is changed, but it changes ours too.
100%. I'm a business coach. It's what I do for a living. And when I work with my clients, I always talk about how are you solving a pain point for your customer? Well, when you're a Rotary Club, our customer is a community. And the pain point we're solving is their desire to serve. People want to serve in their community easily, quickly. They don't want to do the planning. They just want to get there and do it. So when a Rotary Club solves that pain point, provides an opportunity for the community to serve, to get paid in that psychic income, I'm going to start using that more. That's when people are going to be joining Rotary, when that's what we're doing. Because as Stephanie Meyer says earlier, if anybody's heard me speak, I always ask the audience, who likes meetings? Raise your hand. We get maybe 1 or 2. Then I'm like, who likes service? Everybody raises their hands. Well, we don't need to lead with what nobody wants to do. Lead with service, not with meetings. But we always say, come join our club, come to our meetings. Instead, say, come to our service project. And people love that. We're paying them the psychic income.
I think, Alex, too, that's a great point, and both are great. I've talked to clubs who are the traditional model and they love it and they feel like this is kind of a threat to it, because what about our regular meetings and what about my Friday morning breakfast with my friends? Like, both are great and both can coexist, and you can flex in and out. And we have folks in our evening club who do service, but also occasionally show up for our early morning breakfast and vice versa. So they're not a threat, they complement, and it's perfect.
I love that perfectly, because my club's a perfect example. We are traditional as traditional it can be. We meet every week. We have meals, but we also do a lot of service. I always tell everybody it's not either or. It's just expanding your club to be inclusive to everybody. Stephanie Urchek, you had a point.
I just wanted to give everybody a tip. Stephanie's on to something. When I meet someone and I'm excited and I talk about Rotary, I do not invite them to my Rotary Club meeting. I invite them to a service project or to a social, because then they get to see Rotary in action. They get to see the members and what we're about. If you invite somebody to a Rotary Club meeting, unfortunately, the club president is going to start the meeting and start announcements and is going to use all of our Rotary acronyms. He's going to say, well, the DG visit is happening and we have a COL rep who's going to come. And somebody who doesn't know Rotary is going to sit there and think, what the hell am I doing here? They won't have a clue about what we're talking about. But if they come to see us in service, in action, then they get the understanding. They know what service means. So don't invite people to your club meeting, bring them to a service project.
People of action, not people of meetings, right?
Right.
Good.
Steve Dakin, you get to close out the formal questions. How do service companion? No, wrong question. How do you ensure that a service companion club aligns with the host club's values and objectives?
Well, first, I want to say, Stephanie Urchek, I hope you have 30 years left in Rotary. So
no, I'm afraid I don't, Steve, but thank you.
One of the things that I push is the companion club should have representation on the board. So that makes it very easy for them to understand what the other club's doing. But, in 6,000, we're doing a president and we're doing a chairperson. And that doesn't mean the sponsoring club has to have the president. We have a situation now where the companion club has the president. It's just about communication. I don't want a carbon copy of one or the other. We have 7 avenues of focus. One club can't cover 7 avenues of focus, is my feeling. This gives you a diversity. That's what we want. We just have an awful great chance then of doing so much more in areas that we haven't been touching before. And that's what I like about the Companion Club.
Awesome. And like I said, I consider you our zone pair expert because your district's been doing it since 2018 with 14 of them, which is amazing. Okay, my next question for you, Steve. What challenges have you faced when starting a Service Companion Club, and how did you overcome them? Given that you started 14 of them, they've all been easy, so no challenges, right?
Well, as a Rotarian, I don't view those as challenges. So
There we go.
it's one Rotary Club with 2 meeting times. You sell that, and it gets really easy after that. You know, probably the only person maybe that has a little difficulty is the treasurer, because there's no meals in that Companion Club. And as soon as you get them on board, and I've never had any problem with them have to think about it for 5 minutes, and it's a done deal. To me, it's all about the 3 C's: communication, communication, and communication. And if you get that done, you're going to have success.
Awesome. Do you have any, because I know you've shared with Stephanie Meyer and I a lot of tidbits and advice on starting these. Do you have any more that you could share with our attendees? That, because we know they're in the fact sheet, but not every Rotarians don't like reading. So they're here. Tell us some of these tidbits that you think we should keep in mind when we start one of these.
Well, just get somebody who knows the community, or more than one Rotarian, and just call as many people as you want and come in and talk about, or maybe have a project at that point. Hey, this is what we're going to do tonight. Do something to inspire some people to come in. I have not had any issues with anybody once we get that first group going of it becoming a success after that.
You're making it sound easy.
Well,
So
it
we
is.
need to give everybody your phone number. So
I'll answer.
or their ICA for their district. Well, excellent. Are there any other open, what I'd like to do is have each panelist kind of give their closing thoughts, and with the goal of, we want the 100+ people that are online to start these in their club. So what knowledge can you impart to them? We'll start with Stephanie Meyer.
I knew you were going to start with me.
Thank
You know, I would say don't fear change. I think that's the biggest takeaway. I think COVID has really shown us that the clubs can evolve and adapt, and we can evolve and adapt and get a little bit out of our routines. And in a lot of cases, it ends up better than it was before. So I would say don't immediately write it off. Be open to it. Have a conversation with your club. You might find out, you know, part of why our evening satellite club started is our club president at the time had daughters in their 20s, and they loved the idea of Rotary, but they were like, we're not getting up at 7 a.m., you know? So it's having those conversations that opens the door to something that will ultimately be a benefit, not only to your club, but to the community as a whole, because you're able to really exponentially expand the amount of service work you're doing in the community. So don't fear it. And if you are fearful, call us. We'll hold your hand.
I like that. Call us. When she says call us, she means,
Well, maybe text me. Don't call me. I am still a millennial.
Steph does not like phone calls. Call your district membership chair, your district new club development chair, and they have full support of the Rotary coordinator team with our assistant Rotary coordinators and innovative club advocates. So I'm actually going to change the order. I'm going to let Steve Dakin give your closing comments. So that way we're going to let Stephanie Urchek spend extra time with her closing comments. So Steve, what's your advice to, because we hear a lot of people want to start these, they don't know where to start. What are the challenges to look at? What's your parting advice?
Don't make it difficult. Don't look for the problems. Just go out and start asking. Like all of us, we were all asked to become Rotarians. Just go out and start asking. Hey, you want to work on this service project? You want to go do this? You want, you know, hey, we're going to be meeting and talking about our next service project. Come and tell us what thoughts you have that the community needs. Come have a beer with us. Bring your family. And a lot of the clubs, there's couples involved and they bring their kids. And I think that's a big thing that helps out. Young professionals, couples, that's really become big, the 6,000. So that's my advice. And one more thing, I'd go look for the empty nesters. Especially the woman is looking for something to do. So.
Solving a pain point. She wants something to do and she wants to take care of the community that she loves so much.
Yep.
Before I turn it over to Stephanie Urchek, because I want to kind of give you as much time as you want till we end, I want to cover some of the questions that people have asked. Are there statistics on establishing a service companion club and how it impacts membership? No, it's a satellite club. So it's a satellite club focused on service. There's no separate tracking of it. So no to that. Somebody asked, does a service companion club have their own leadership? Yes, like it's a satellite club. Satellite clubs, there's a structure for it. They don't have a president, they have a chair who is suggested to be on the host club's board of directors, but the satellite club has its own board. Chair has a treasurer, secretary, because it runs as its own club, but it's still associated with the host club. And so, as I mentioned, I uploaded the fact sheet in this chat, which answers a lot of these questions. You could also go on the Zone website, which nobody knows where that is. So it is there, but you can go to your district membership chair. They definitely have the fact sheet and they have that information. I know because I personally gave it to them. And then they have support from our Rotary coordinator team. And also the email blast that you received, there's a link on there. There's a button that says fact sheet. Click it and you'll get the fact sheet. There's also a link to the Zone website. And so you can click it and you'll go to the Zone website. So if you're here, you have access to the fact sheet because it's been on the different documentation. Let's see if there's another. Someone asked, is there a playbook? Well, we created the fact sheet. Stephanie Meyer, would you consider that? You created the fact sheet. Would you consider that to be the playbook?
I think it's a good starting place for sure. And then you can come to us with any questions. So it includes kind of the basics of, what do you need? How many members? What's the structure look like? So the kind of board and governance questions. And then also just have a lot of great kind of tidbits from Steve about just best practices. So I think it does answer a lot of those questions, but happy to follow up in greater detail.
Perfect. Thank you. When she says call us, okay, somebody asked, what is ICA? ICA is Innovative Club Advocate. It is a team of Rotarians, which Steve and Stephanie are part of that team, whose sole focus is to help you start new clubs. That includes service companion clubs. It could also be separate standalone clubs. Anything new club focused, that's what they do. And they're trained and experienced to do it. So when Stephanie Meyer says, call us, she means call the Rotary coordinator team. Every district has an assigned assistant Rotary coordinator and Innovative Club Advocate. Your district membership chair knows who they are. They meet with them monthly. Your DMC, another Rotary lingo, district membership chair is your first point of contact, and we help them in any way possible. Trying to think, do I have any other questions? Somebody wants to learn about the pizza, beer, and Rotary events.
They're the good ones.
Yeah.
So I will let Stephanie
Call me.
Urchek cover those in her comments. But I think that's it on the formal questions. So Rotary International President-elect, or RIPE, right? That's Rotary lingo.
That's Rotary lingo, that's right. And you know what? That is my title, but not my condition.
Okay. And with that, I'm going to
Maybe
let
in 30 years, maybe in 30 years.
we do have 100 people online. So,
Oh, okay. Okay.
Stephanie Urchek, I'm going to let you close down the show because it's always an honor to hear you speak because you are the queen of membership and Rotary in my perspective. And I've never heard a president so focused on it, not just, or president-elect, not just have a goal, but that's the key of all your speaking, which is phenomenal. So I look forward to hearing you again at Zone Institute, but we have the distinct honor of hearing you now. So take it away.
Well, I appreciate that, Alex, very much. And you know, you are right. It is definitely one of my top priorities, because for all the reasons that I mentioned before. So, you know, I'm very fond of saying and re-saying that there really are only 3 ways to grow Rotary. They are attract members to our existing clubs. So that would speak to retention or attraction. The second one is stop the bleed in our existing clubs. You know, we have a revolving door. We bring in members, but then we lose members. And every club has built-in attrition, because whether you think about it or not, you have people who move, people who pass on. You know, for other reasons, people leave your club. So we have built-in attrition. And then the third way is, of course, starting new clubs. Now, people will always say, which one should I do? And the answer is yes. You should do all of them. You have to do all of them because they're all related. The quickest way is to start new clubs, because it gives you the greatest number of people coming into Rotary at one time. But we also have to stop the bleed in our clubs. We have to work on participant engagement. If people leave, it's because they're not getting what they expect. And we also have to work on attraction. And I'm not going to say this to make anybody feel bad, but from July 24th to today, which is almost 2 months, I've brought in 8 members into Rotary. How many have you brought in? Because people like me, I can't help it. I talk about it. I get excited. I am so excited with our organization, because for 110 years, we had the same model, the same meeting model. You meet 4 times a week, you ring the bell, you get up, you say the pledge, you take attendance, and that changed. That changed, you know, about 8 years ago. So somebody said to me, well, isn't Rotary that Romeo group? I said, what? She said, rich old men eating out. No, we haven't been that for at least a decade now. So, you know, I'm really proud of the fact that we have different ways for people to come into the organization. So let's exploit that, and let's think about how do we go out and do these things. But it's not going to happen if we sit and talk about it. It happens because we're people of action, and we go out and we create those clubs, and we bring people in, and we stop the bleed, and we bring people to our existing clubs. We have to do all of that. But the most I don't want to say important, but the one that gives us the quickest results is starting new clubs and you know, letting them create the kind of environment that works for them and lets them get the results that they want and allows them to have an impact in the community right away. So thank you again, Alex, for inviting me to be part of this important meeting, and Lloyd, for you putting this on the radar screen of, you know, talking about it every single month, so that we don't lose sight of how important growing our membership is. I love Rotary just like everybody on this call, and I want to see it have a thriving future. So I wish you all the best of luck, and I know you can do it. Thanks, Alex, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much. My parting words before I turn it over to Lloyd to close down the meeting is the 4 things a district can do to have a net gain. Use the roadmap as your membership plan, and our team's working with you on that. 2, have a membership committee, not just the district membership chair. It takes more than one person to do everything necessary to support a district and growing Rotary. 3, utilize the membership Olympics. If your district is not going to do a competition, then each individual club do the 7 stages of the membership Olympics, and I will guarantee you, you will have a net gain. The core focus of the membership Olympics is retention. These are things you're going to do with your club, with your members, like having a membership chair, having goals, really important, having goals, surveying your membership. That's key. You wonder why people leave? Well, if you survey them, you'll know, and you'll probably catch them before they leave. Survey, and then do something. Have a club assembly, have a meeting talking about those results. We call those a workshop to talk about club and member needs. Then have your membership chair do some training. And then last but not least, start a service companion club. If every Rotary Club does those 7 things, you will have a positive gain in membership, I guarantee you. So if you have a question about the Membership Olympics, or at least the stages within it, talk to your district membership chair. And then finally, start a service companion club. Every Rotary Club should start a service companion club. It will grow your Rotary Club. We're not talking about a satellite club that spins off. We're talking about a satellite club that's your companion. So it's part of your club that provides you more diversity, more inclusive, more options for members that you don't have yet. So with that, that's my final speech as Rotary coordinator. Your district governors hear this from me all the time. They have your governor-elects, as well as your governor nominees and your district membership chairs. Our team beats to the same mantra, monthly, daily. So that's why we have this webinar. So all Rotarians, because this isn't a district leadership thing. This is a Rotarian. Membership starts at us as Rotarians, and you inviting your friends, doing service, and starting a service companion club. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Lloyd.
Alex, thank you very much. And I also want to take this time to thank the panelists for their dedication and also the time they spent putting their program together just to make this a great program. One of the things I also want to highlight here is next month, we have another webinar, and that webinar is entitled Discover the Secret of Keeping Your Members. And that's an extremely important thing too. So believe it or not, we're actually going to leave on time. And I want to thank everyone here for participating. I also want to thank the people who actually joined in to see what this story is all about. And please tell your friends, tell your other Rotarians, go to the Zone website and look at the recordings, and also the recordings of the other webinars that we put on. So once again, thank you very much. And this meeting is over.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.